Okay, so here we're going to talk about multiplying algebraic terms. Now, in the first couple of examples, we use the same rules for indices or powers that you use with numbers. So, for example, d times d, we can write as d squared. E times e can be written as e cubed. Okay, now in the third one here, we're multiplying a letter by a number. A times 3, remember last time we talked about the secret times. When it's a letter and a number multiplied, we can remove the times. But by convention, so I don't confuse that with a cubed, we write the number first. So a times 3 is the same as 3 times a, because it doesn't matter which way around we do a multiplication, and we can remove the times and leave that simply as 3a. Remember, you can't do that if both of these are numbers. That doesn't work, but for a number and a letter, or a letter and a letter, we could hide the times. So b times c, we can simply write as bc. Okay, now we can mix it up a little bit. So here we've got f times f times f. So we've got f times by itself 3 times g times g. Well, f times f times f, if we follow the rule from the first couple of examples, f times f is equal to f cubed. So f and a little 3 up here. G times g is g squared. So we've got f cubed multiplied by g squared. Again, we can hide the times, so f cubed g squared. We don't need to do anything more with that. We just need to follow that fairly simple rule. It's when people try to put all of the rules together that they get a little bit confused with algebra. Try to keep it as simple and just follow the simple rules. On the next one, we've got 2h times 4. So I'm going to write 2h in its longer form of 2 times h, and that needs to be multiplied by 4. When it's times, the order that you multiply doesn't matter, so I can rewrite that as 2 times 4 times h. Now remember, we don't write 2 times 4 as 24, because you all know that 2 times 4 is 8. So you got 8 times h, that should be a times there. 8 times h is written as 8h with the secret times. We could do similar with the next one. So 6j times 3j times j. So the only letter involved there is j. I'm going to write it out in longer form. 6 times j times 3 times j times j. If we times the numbers first, we've got 6 times 3. Okay, and then times the j's. 6 times 3 is 18, if I can fit this on my screen. J times j times j is j cubed. Here on the next one, we've got 3 letters. Again, we can multiply the numbers together. 2 times 3 times 4. So 2 times 3 is 6. Times 4 is 24. So we get 24. K times m times n. I will just put the times in. And because we're multiplying, we can hide the times between the numbers and the letters, and the letters and the letters. So that will become 24 k m n. Okay, now these are potentially really confusing now if we're not careful with them. But on this one, 6 times 2 times 3, so 6 times 2 is 12, times 3 is 36. Then we've got P times Q times R times Q. You notice we've got a Q times by Q in there. As we saw before, that becomes Q squared. So we get 36 P Q squared R. So here are some for you to try. Again, I'm going to pause for a second if you want to just pause the video. Okay, so you've had a go at those. I'm just going to pick out a couple to go through with you, and then I'll display all of the answers. So if we look at the first one on the 1-star question, a times a, hopefully you've got as a squared. Times it by itself and itself again, that's when we cube a number. So a little 3 up here. Then here we've got b to the power of 4, because b is times by itself 1, 2, 3, 4 times. I'm going to skip down where it looks a little bit different to number 7 here. A times a times a is a cubed. B times b is b squared. If I just pick out a couple from the 2-star questions, 2a times 2a, so 2 times 2 is 4. A times a is a squared, so we get 4a squared. On let's jump to number 4. 5 times 2a times a, so 5 times 2a is 10a. 10a times a becomes 10a squared. And let's jump now to the hardest one on the 2-star, number 8. 3a times 3a times 3a. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. A times a times a is a cubed. Now, let's have a look at a couple of the 3-star questions together before I give you the chance to mark your own. 2a times 2b, so 2 times 2 is 4. A times b we can write as ab, so 4ab. On the second one, 3 times 2 times 2 is 12. A times b times a. So the a times the a gives us a squared, so 12a squared b. Just pick out one of the harder ones from towards the bottom, so let's have a look at question 6. 2a times 3b times b times c. So the numbers 2 times 3 is 6. A times b times b times c, so it's a b squared because of the b times b, c. Now you'll notice I've put these in alphabetical order, but you'd get full marks if, for example, on question 6 you wrote 6b squared ac or 6c b squared a. You would still get the marks. By convention, I've just done these in alphabetical order. Okay, so thank you for attempting those. If you want to check the rest of your answers, here they are. And please pause your video, so you can mark your work if you need to.